You know, it's always great to, first of all, talk about boxing. I don't like talking about myself, but I am Roland Gamez. Very, very proud to be part of the Blue Planet Media Group and the Knockouts Unlimited, along with the new guy that we just brought in. And I know I'm supposed to be talking about myself, but I always like to talk about other people. Josh Burns is going to be an added great dimension. But Roland Gamez here, born and raised here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, more specifically Dallas-Oak Cliff, if I want to get down to what it's all about. But I've had the great privilege of serving the community from a policeman and fireman standpoint, and being a paramedic. But now I've stepped off into something now that has just set my world apart from anything I've ever had before. A brotherhood with boxing and the people who are the backbone of boxing. What a precious gift that I've been given here. At the age of 58, I only can tell you this: it's only going to get better. Boxing. You know, it's funny, people have asked me about, whenever I see these young kids about boxing, the evolution of boxing. I go back a couple of days. When I was 12 years old was when I actually got involved in the active sport of boxing. Started kind of playing around with it about 7 or 8 because I had an unfortunate experience with not fighting back, and my dad just about boxed me out. But talking about the evolution of boxing, you look at the gloves they are today with the white striking from the amateur standpoint and even the pro standpoint. I kind of look at boxing in the evolution of how it was for me as an amateur, starting at the weight of 80 pounds, and how we could box as many times as we wanted to. And seeing now the more scientific part of USA Boxing, as you can see my shirt, you only can box one time in 24 hours. Back in the day, I fought 3 times in one day, 2 different tournaments. One in Fort Worth. That night we went to Plano. It was a Saturday, happened to make the championships over at Plano, and fighting Saturday morning, because boxing was it. Boxing was every weekend, and it was a 4-day show. You see the evolution? Now we have 1-day shows, we have 2-day shows. The pros, we've lost a little bit of spunk in the actual boxing world. When you look at the heavyweights, everybody says, you know, the Americans had run the heavyweight division. Now it's the middleweights, the middle category weights that are now carrying the umph of boxing. Now you're talking about the light welter, the welterweights, the super welterweights, the light middleweights, and it's all kind of there. So the evolution of boxing has really kind of changed, not only from the amateur standpoint, where USA Boxing has involved the headgear. Back then we didn't have headgear. The number of times we could box a day, and now the actual weights within the pro ranks, how they've kind of shifted to where we're looking at the middle, the 152, the 140, the 140s through the 165s are really taken over that. So the evolution definitely has changed, but you know what, this is just excitement of boxing that I'll take no matter what weight it is. Well, first of all, when I'm asked that question, how did all of this come together with BPMG, Blue Planet Media Group, and then now we've encroached upon Unlimited Knockouts. It's really something that I think Stan and I, BPMG, along with the crew, I'm talking Elijah, Johan, and everybody else who was involved at the time, we were at a standing 8 a show, and I was working with I'll just say a sister production outfit that eventually dissolved itself. But what we were doing, we were shooting, I guess some type of interview at the time, another co-worker of mine at the time, and looked over and I saw none other than Stan Milburn just watching. And as soon as it was over with, he and I started talking, and I knew when I talked to Stan Milburn, there was something about him that was separate and apart from any other network that I had worked with or had filmed with. I had been with 2 previous outfits, but Stan had something about him that took him to a different level, and that was something that I wanted to be part of. And what has happened, nothing but a transition of just elevated type of technicalness that brings boxing to a different level. And I really see BPMG with Stan Milburn being behind it, and the other class acts. Again, I can't take anything away from Josh Burns. You better get ready for a man who knows his game. A man who knows the sport, knows the area. You take Elijah on, and I know I'm kind of repeating myself here, but these people behind the scenes, behind the camera, that are going to be able to elevate what knowledge Josh and I can bring and what information we can bring to a different level. And I just salute that tall order, and I see BPMG just being a dynamic leader and a change agent in the sport of boxing information dissemination. Oh, the video production at the time was just off the chain. And when he asked me to be part of that, I think it was a mutual appreciation where he asked me and I said yes, because I think we both knew where our talent was and what side of the equation or what part of the equation we made up to get an equal sign that said off the chain, fantastic presentation. Everything from the production as well as the talent, if I can use that word, and I don't mean to use the word talent in any which way other than the way Stan always tells me. You're the talent and we can bring that talent out, but without that production, I just know that the talent could not be sent the way BPMG does. You know, when I'm asked that question, my mind cannot comprehend the actual vision that I already have in my mind, in my heart, and what I know BPMG Unlimited Knockouts can do for the world of boxing. Capturing the boxing information is going to be easy from the standpoint that it's out there. We can capture it, but it's BPMG actually sending it out that it's going to be a paradigm shift, I feel, in the dissemination of that information and bringing it to what I call a very, very great, and the reason I'm looking up right now is because I think that once people see what production is really being, and I'm going to use the word pumped out by BPMG, they're going to see a different leader and a different outfit on the scene of boxing. I see it to be expanding. The only thing that's going to limit us is our inability to be able to grow with change, and I know we can grow with change. You talk about Stan Milburn, he is a man who is only out for perfection. BPMG, his team, and I know Josh Burns has a love for this sport.
Hi, my name is Joshua Burns. I was introduced into boxing through my father. When I was 4 or 5 years old, he started me out in martial arts, doing karate, taekwondo, and then he strung me along with boxing, myself, my older brother, my younger brother. It wasn't until I turned 13, though, that I started to take it a little more serious and went to a boxing gym and started trying to compete, entering tournaments and everything. But I played a lot of different sports, so boxing kept getting put on the back burner until I turned like 15 or 16. Boxing, just like any other sport, is part of evolution. It has changed as far as the athletic talent that is involved in it. There's a lot better athletes nowadays. Athletes are more smarter. Their intellect as far as concepts of what they are doing inside the ring, what they want their opponents to do, is a lot brighter than what it was in yesteryear. The money, the revenue that it generates and that you can make as a fighter is substantial nowadays. I met Stanford Milburn at one of my fights, ironically, and at Hearst. It was a fight that had a kind of outcome that most people don't want to see in boxing. It was a black eye on boxing, where the decision was awarded to me, and then later they overturned it and made it a draw. And this was my first encounter with Stanford Milburn and the Blue Planet Media Group. I thought the production of the Blue Planet Media Group was superb. It was one of a kind. The whole production team are nothing but trendsetters. It's far beyond your imagination of what they can do and where they want to go with it. And as far as them asking me to join and be a part of this, I'm really honored for that. I think Stanford is a brilliant man as far as what he does in his production. Everyone behind the camera lives up to what some people try to aspire to be when the things that they have as far as their concept and their overall appearance that they look for is A1. You know, I respect them a lot, and I respect what they do for Knockouts Unlimited and Blue Planet Media Group. The future is bright for Knockouts Unlimited. I see them going far and above what they expect. I see them being trendsetters. I see everyone adapting their style of broadcasting to try to duplicate. But there's only one BPMG media group. Can't be duplicated. I see it going to the next level. I see them bringing out everything good about boxing, and then I see them showcasing the bad about boxing also. I see them talking about things that certain entities will not discuss. I see Blue Planet Media Group discussing everything. Nothing is bar none with the group. I see Stanford Milburn and his associates bringing forth the best production that you can get from media. Tune in next week for Knockouts Unlimited. For the locals, we're about to make you major.